Welcome to the Public Safety Committee. Welcome back after the 2 month break. Extremely needed to all of us. For those of you who are online via YouTube or are we on Facebook?
I'm not sure.
Not anymore. Well, or with Teams or Zoom, whichever way. So I'd like to have introduce themselves since we have a new board member. Not too much.
Food in my mouth.
When you're finished. We're gonna start with our assistant chair or vice chair. Is that the new title?
Yes. Right.
Vice chair. Introduce yourself. What should I say?
Okay, sweet. Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone had a good summer. I'm Jumirna Kobe Ramirez, and I'm the vice chair for the Public Safety Committee. And I'm glad to be here tonight and reconnect with our committee members and new folks joining us in our committee, as well as our guests tonight. So thank you all for being here.
Hey, y'all. Instagram. Second vice chair of the community board and new member of public safety.
Welcome. Officially.
Official,
Yes.
and I was here.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the
Yes.
Dick?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bishop Hanna, the member of the committee and member of Community Board 12, and looking forward to a great year. Do some good work.
Yeah.
Sonia Figueroa.
No.
No, going back to my maiden name.
Oh, nice.
Oh, good. Yeah, active today, we have 29 more meetings. So I am counting them down.
Oh,
What's at the end of the year? Oh, okay.
There's 38 meetings from September to, I think to June, right?
December.
We're
And
up
then
to
we start.
December and then we'll start again.
Okay, I'm counting down starting today.
Member of, you're a public member.
Yeah.
Just introduce yourselves.
I'm Francis Ronda. Grand Avenue.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Been around many years.
Thank you for coming. Marisol de la Cruz Martinez.
My name is Maria de la Cruz.
That's it. So thank you.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
My bad.
Ty Fujimura. I'm a new member of the board and really excited to serve on this committee. Sorry, I was a few minutes late today.
Welcome.
I watched Ty Fujimura. Yes. nice to meet you. And I watched the last one. I thought it was cool. I'm really excited to dig in on these issues and see how I can help. So thank you all.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us. In summary, we try to have an open conversation in which everyone has to say. This isn't a committee per se, even though the title frames it as though there's one person, doing all the talking, but we don't try and have input from all the members. It's important, it's critical that everyone contributes not only their points of views, but also we all live in different areas of the community. So each area, as you probably already know, has their own issues, brings their own problems. This is the space in which we try and bring it to light and have both of our beloved NYPD officers talk about them and discuss them and try and come up with solutions. And at the end, a commitment to do prevention, which is what we're looking for, more so than enforcement.
Yeah.
Enforcement is something else, but that's what these conversations is mostly about trying to come up with ways of preventing what is already out there. So thank you, and extremely happy to have you here. Look forward to having you as you read those comments. So we have on the floor, we're gonna start as we do it every week. Every month. With the report from not either, but both 3 through 4, and the Manhattan District Attorney's Office representative, whoever's here, either Jocelyn or Julia. Who's here?
I see Miss Minaya is here.
Minaya? Minaya, how are you?
Hi, Ebony. Eliasar, how are you? Hi, everyone. Who's Julia, Eli?
Who's the rep? The person that usually sent to our meetings?
Oh, Fernanda.
Amanda. Julia. I don't know where I got Julia from. So yeah, welcome back to our committee and looking forward to hear positive news, or any news whatsoever. And if there's anything that you wanna report today, I'll be more than happy to. You have the floor.
Thank you, and welcome to the new members of the board and of the committee. I hope everyone had a wonderful summer, even though we still have a couple more days left of it. I don't have much to report as this is our first meeting, so I look forward to hitting the ground running this year and continuing the good work that we do on a regular. I do want to highlight that before we meet again in October, we are kicking off Domestic Violence Awareness Month, which is October, with the 26th Annual Brides March, which will be on Friday, September the 26th. I will get the board and the committee the flyers as soon as possible, and I hope that as many of you as possible will be able to join us this year for what is a poignant year, and poignant way to kick off our domestic violence prevention efforts year long. So that is what I have for you today. And again, look forward to working with all of you and the new members as well.
Yeah, you wanna kind of like touch on like brief summaries of what your office does, because they're right next door, like actually like next door. Wanna kind of like give us an idea, a refresher as to what your office does.
Well, what don't we do? Yes, Manhattan District Attorney's Office, we are charged with prosecuting all arrests in all of Manhattan. Specifically in the satellite offices, we have a strong emphasis on victim services and prevention and engagement, community engagement. So we also have a strong reference point in terms of working with domestic violence victims, elder abuse, human trafficking, but also with engaging the community and looking for ways to engage our youth as a way to forge hopefully new prosecutors in the future, but certainly keep our youth engaged in a positive way and try and find ways to keep them civically engaged as well. So in a nutshell, that is what we do. In the satellite offices, the Washington Heights office is the second office, second satellite office. We have our first one in Harlem, which has been instituted since 1986. And of course, our main office downtown in Lower Manhattan, where the criminal court is. So we are a vital link to the community and the district attorney and the office in general.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Always proud of you being part of this committee and not part of it, but also being part of this community and the work that you've done firsthand. I'm a personal beneficiary of the work that you do. So extremely happy to have you with us. We're gonna now move on to the
Thank you,
CompStat.
Jocelyn.
The CompStat numbers from both precincts. Hopefully we have the 33 and the 34. So we're gonna begin with the 33rd precinct. The 33rd precinct, Horace.
Hey, how are you? It's Lieutenant Caprino from the 33rd precinct. I'll be able to give you the brief rundown.
Okay, good enough.
So I'll give you guys the 28-day period and then our year-to-date numbers. Unfortunately, we're seeing an increase in crime in both 28-day and year-to-date. For the year-to-date, we have seen an increase in felony assaults and grand larceny of auto and then grand larceny. So we're up 4.6% in crime for the year-to-date. We've taken 712 major crimes as opposed to the 681 the year prior. The 28-day period, we're up 17% in crime, most of it seeming to be robberies. We're up in robberies, felony assaults, and burglary for the 28-day period. And to give you the breakdown for these robberies, because they are concerning. Majority of them of the 17, 13 were what we call on the street robberies. And the highest the area of our command that gets hit the most is what we call Sector Adam, which is the lower end of the 33rd precinct. So if you're thinking like 155, 156, up that way to about like 162. Most of it is involved physical force, but we have seen firearms being used, displayed, maybe not have been fired, but they're being displayed to intimidate obviously people into handing over their property. So that's been concerning. And the critical hours that we're seeing, of 3 have taken place between the hours of 5 and 6. And 3 have been taking place to the hours of 9 and 10. So that 5 to 6 is obviously early in the morning, people going to work. And then obviously a little bit later at night, from 9 to 10 p.m. at night. The other concerning crime that we have an increase in is felony assaults. We're up almost 50% for the 28-day period. It's 22 versus 15 from last year. And most of it is physical force. And if it's physical force, that usually means it's either a cop getting assaulted or a fireman, an EMT, a doctor, something like that. Just physical force on those persons would be considered a felony assault. And also concerning would be if you have someone who's elderly and is being assaulted, that also would make it a felony assault. And most of those, the critical hours for that, it's like a 2-hour time block. It's really between from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Of them, we have 8 of them are stabbing, slashing incidents. 8 of them are domestic violence related as well. And most of them are occurring, 11 of which have been in the street. 8 are actually inside the residence, which would lead to your domestic incidents. But I would say out of the 22 complaints for the 28-day period, 11 of them have actually been close to arrest that our officers were able to make arrests on. And then the other crime that we were up in, a slight uptick, 12 versus 11 for the 28-day period, would be burglary. And we're seeing a lot of that more so in really coming at between 9 and 10 p.m., which is concerning. And almost, I think all of them except for one have been in the residence. The only other one would be considered a mailbox burglary, which we actually made an arrest on. A man went inside one of the residential buildings and was using a tool to pry open the mailbox. So he was actually arrested and apprehended. Overall enforcement from our officers has been good. Officer activity is excellent in terms of arrests. We're up for the week, for the 20th day, and for the year to date as well. We are seeing still these guys on mopeds are still, they're still committing some of our crimes. These chain snatches, our phone snatches. So we're really trying to tell people to just be aware of your surroundings. Don't have those earbuds in on full blast and not being able to hear and get distracted and seeing, just looking down at your phone. Please just keep aware. These guys will go on the sidewalk to try to swipe your property from you. And that's pretty much it for the 3-3. If there's anybody has any questions, I could try to answer them the best of my ability.
Let's start with our committee members.
Question. Hello, how you doing? We appreciate your report. Can you tell me, where the police come from that have on the tan pants?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the first part. I heard tan pants, but I couldn't hear your first half of the question.
The police, what unit is that has, wears the tan pants?
So that's considered what they call the community response team. Every borough in the city has a community response team, as well as there's a citywide community response team as well.
Okay, so yeah, because I have noticed around my neighborhood, which would be around 163rd between Amsterdam and Edgecombe, I took video of police officers twice in a week violating Black men's rights by running up on them and searching them. So I just want to put that on record and say that we will be following up on that. because, you know, while we have to hold our citizens accountable, we have to hold our police officers accountable too. And they have been doing a lot of that. So if they are a community response team, I find it real funny that, you know, there's been two instances in the month of August where they just ran up on people because they saw them talking to people or people were sitting in their cars. So yeah, I wanted to put that on record and, you know, we'll revisit that because that is not okay.
Have a response, or you wanna just make notes and make sure that we come back to us on?
Yes,
And
please
give us
make,
that
you can make note of it. Tanisha Grant.
Any other questions or comments?
Does that unit carry guns as well?
Yes, they carry guns, they take people to jail. And I'm just really confused.
Can you explain the function of what the CRT team means, and what they do, what's their primary function?
Well, they're addressing community, usually community complaints and conditions. They are an enforcement unit. They, you know, they are known to make plenty of arrests. I can't speak to these two incidents. You know, I would have to actually view body camera. I don't view their body camera. They don't work for me. So I try, you know, they have their own bosses that oversee that. But you know, I can't speak to it because I wasn't there and I haven't seen the videos, so I can't make a comment on the actions that were taken, and it's hard to make a comment from based off of someone's an anecdote or even like a 15-second video. That's why body cameras are great. We can watch the whole thing, but they you know, they're not my guys. They don't fall underneath me, so I don't review their body camera videos.
All right.
Who's responsible for that?
Maybe
unit?
it's concerning.
The
Yeah.
CO.
The CO.
So maybe we need to talk to him because that's greatly concerning, you know.
I think there's a way you can either foil or can go to IRT, which is the unit that takes civilian versus police complaints. You can also file a formal complaint, and they will proceed to, like the officer said, review the body cam and then make a determination based upon what the body cam's interactions with civilians. And then you can actually follow that path, get the result that you look.
Great, thank you. I'm just doing my due diligence as on the community board. It is my job to come here and speak for things that's happening with the community members, but I'm confused because we have to do all of that to get answers and they don't, you know, report to us, and that's crazy.
No, I think that on a normal basis, our function would be to just report. Their liaison between us and the police department. All I'm saying is some of us, like in my case, want to take a step further.
Yeah.
Like I have, so I've been there.
I wrote it down.
So that's what you do, you know, instead of just waiting for them to kind of like do it.
Thank you.
I think your complaint is on the 3-4 mostly because you live in Fairview, right?
Right.
That's what I kind of like waiting for you to like bring this. So anyone else?
I'm just curious. So I'm just, you know, getting used to the format of the committee and what you all talk about. So it sounds like the stats that the precincts generally report are the major crime stats. So would that cover anything to do with drug use and that type of activity?
So no, we wouldn't cover those kind of quality of life, what we would consider like a quality of life, you know, condition. But in terms of drug use and sale, I have my quality of life team that goes out to handle such complaints. And obviously there's an entire, you know, there's a narcotics unit that deals with narcotics, but in terms of like narcotics based complaints specifically, no, I don't have like those statistics in front of me per se. I could just do for the, you know, for the year to date, there's been about 376 narcotics related arrests in the 33rd precinct. For the 28-day period, 44 arrests have been narcotics related. And for the 28-day period, so it's 44 narcotics related arrests out of the 188 arrests that have been made in the 33rd precinct for the 28-day period.
Okay.
But in
got
terms of specifics, like I would have to do a little bit of a deeper dive to answer any specific question that you would have regarding that.
But those numbers are published online, I
Yeah.
presume, and I could.
The narcotics arrest, they should be published online. I mean, that's you know, it should be public record. It should be on if you actually go on to, I think if you type in the 33rd precinct into Google, and it should give you a PDF page for the CompStat sheet.
Cool. Thank you.
No problem.
This definition or what's a major crime and what's the quality of crime?
So a major crime is there's seven major crimes that are reported that we really focus on. It's pretty much in line with the FBI. The only thing we don't keep track of in the city is arson, because that would be considered a major crime. If you look at the FBI's page in terms of crime reporting, you will see arson, but we don't have that in the city in our CompStat sheet. But we track the seven major crimes would be murder, rape, robbery, felony assault, burglary, grand larceny, and grand larceny of an auto. And then you have like quality of life crimes. I would put like things like graffiti. You have like drug sales, drug usage. Those would be kind of, you know, like theft of service, things of that nature. Would be considered like a quality of life crimes. I would even consider something like retail theft, like petty larceny, also maybe like a quality of life crime. But yeah, we the major crimes is what, like, not that we don't focus on the other crimes, we have units that deal with those, but like, you know, in terms of analyzing major crime and trying to suppress major crime, those are the major crimes that we're looking at.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant Officer.
Lieutenant.
We have a question from the public. Someone by the name of Noemi,
No, I mean the one that works.
DC. I mean, their hand was up, so,
Maybe.
but they just put it, oh yeah, she put it back up, so. All right, feel free to,
Hi, it's Noemi. I'm from the Youth and Education Committee and also the License Committee. I'm just tuning in and wanted to chime in since starting the new year. Thank you for everything you guys do and everything you guys are bringing to light. One of my concerns for the 33rd precinct is the walkway from 21 Jamel Place to the train station. And my main concern is the high traffic area of just drugs all day long on this block while our kids are walking to and from school. So I'm trying to bring this issue to light. I know many other blocks have this issue. The only reason why I'm highlighting this one is that we have four schools on 168. As you may know, we have PS 128, PS 8, and then we have two schools in the Maribel Sisters. And this is not including the charter schools that are around the area as well. So my question for 33rd is, what's our next step? I feel like every year I come with this question and it's never addressed, but you know, I'm just throwing it out there. Thank you.
Now, is it sales or usage?
Both. It's both. And it's sold to minors on the block. So
But what kind is it, like marijuana sales? Is it?
yeah, it's everything from marijuana to edibles to vapes.
Yeah. So the marijuana we've taken during the year, we've actually shut down several of the vans. The issue seems to be like we grab a van and we grab all the product and we confiscate it and we make the arrest. It seems like every time we take one van away, another one pops up somewhere. So or
a car, like in our instance on 168.
So a car, yeah. The other thing too is it has to be a certain amount of marijuana in possession for it to even be a misdemeanor. And the sale of it, the problem is marijuana being legal. The only thing is you can't sell it without a license. So it's kind of like an unlicensed vendor situation. If they're selling to minors, it's a crime. It's unlawfully dealing with the minor, but we would have to try to step to do observations on that, and then see if a minor actually purchases it. And it's a little tougher than you think. But what we do when we do see them sell it, even if they have like a setup outside, they think it's, they don't think anything's wrong with it because it's legal, and we see it set up, we have issued summonses for their vending, and we have confiscated a good amount of marijuana this year. But like I said, it just seems like we take a truckload, or we take even somebody's stash it's displayed on the table, and then like two others pop up, somewhere else in the precinct. So I will forward though the 168, this marijuana being sold on 168 to my quality of life team. And if it's a car, if we can do something about the car, we can even try. If there's any issues with the car or violations with the car, we can even try to tow it. But if it's on you said West 168 from what, like Jumel around there?
So it happens on 503 West 168th Street. There is a laundromat there, and they're mostly spread out through that whole
We've
area.
actually arrested some of those guys. They just keep coming back out and keep
Yeah.
going. So yeah, we're well acquainted with them.
Well, good to know. Just letting you know that I'm an eyewitness to it being sold to children all day long. So I don't know what else you guys need from me, but I just wanted to put it on record, just like Tanisha said. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're not gonna hang around. It might be another thing that might pop up that we may not remember of right this minute. So if you can give us a few more minutes before you get off. The 3-4.
Good evening, everyone. Officer Christopher Tavares here, 3-4 Precinct Community Affairs. How are we?
Hi, officer.
Good.
How are you?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm well, thank you. I'll get right to it.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you as well, guys. Welcome back. That's it. No more summer. And it kind of feels like it too. It's chilly outside. But I'll get right to it with the 28-day period. So from last year to now, our murder rate has gone down. We have a 0 this year compared to we actually did have 1. Our rate remained the same at 0. Robberies are actually just like the 3 our neighbors, so we're very similar in numbers. Our robberies have gone last year. Actually a big amount. From last year's being 6 to this year being 20. This year, our felonies have gone down. Our felony assaults from 30 to 17. Our burglaries have also gone down from 21 to 13. Our grand larcenies have actually gone down also from 63 to 35. And the only other increase that we've had is our grand larceny of autos, where we had 13 last year and we have 14 this year. So I could do the same as the lieutenant did. From year to date, our robberies are very similar to last year, but we've gone up 2%. I mean, I'm sorry, 2 robberies more than last year. Also, our burglaries have 12%, which here we had 6 at this point, and this year we have 85. So we've gone up 9 burglaries. And also our grand larcenies. Last year we had 119, and this year we have 138. So we've gone up 19 grand larcenies compared to last year. I can give you for these robberies certain spikes and increases. The spikes in robberies have been, the lieutenant has mentioned, our big issue of mopeds and people on motorcycles, bikes, and stuff like that, robbing people, mainly, like he said, gunpoint. I would like to say that our public safety team and our conditions team really arrested 2 of those guys. We arrested a group of 5. I can't even say guys. 1 adult and 4 minors that were robbing people at gunpoint. They were a part of a pattern which we closed off from the many reports that were made. They were a part of a handful of them, and also another robbery suspect. Not even suspect, because he was the end. He had a couple of robberies that he also committed here in the 3-4 precinct. We arrested him. He actually, just to kind of give you a little background, a lot of the crimes that get committed here in our precinct, usually individuals from other boroughs, other areas that come to our precinct to commit these crimes. this particular individual actually come from very far in New Jersey just to come commit some robberies and go back home. We arrested him. Tell you right now, he got arrested late August 20th, and he was a part of at least 5 robberies that we took here in the 34th precinct, gunpoint robberies. So, I'm sorry. I can continue with the uptake in grand larceny autos has been it's been difficult to deal with. Vehicles just been vehicles like Hondas and Toyotas have kind of easily I don't want to say it like that, but easily taken because of these suspects have just been making basically copies of like it's like a same thing as your key, same receptor to vehicles. They'll go up and in minutes or like in a minute or two be able to get into your vehicle and turn on your vehicle from basically stealing the and creating a key on the spot. That's been the biggest dilemma with our grand larcenies, and that's the reason we've taken a big uptake. And then our burglaries have actually gone up because of our he's actually known to us. We arrested him. We arrested him on 8/31, 4 days ago. Our uptake in burglaries have been this particular homeless individual. He's been known to just go to many not establishments, stores in the area while they're closed, and basically force his way in and try to steal merchandise to go ahead and sell. That forcing his way into the institution and stealing items, what we classify as a burglary. So that's our uptake in burglary. He's actually been arrested in the last month at least 6 times, I think it was, but 6 times arrested 6 times for about 15 incidents.
Can you put on the street? I don't get it.
I agree.
Can you,
Yeah, he's an individual that should not be on the street. And I will say I'll give the Manhattan ADA's office a pat on the back. They've actually there's a lot of the individuals like our robberies robbery perpetrators, that's what we call them, have been kept in because of their gun history and and basically the amount of robberies that they've committed. So they've actually tried to hold a lot of these guys. This particular homeless individual has been released a bunch of times, but I think this time he's held out, but it's only been 4 days since he's been arrested. So it could be that he gets released or not. I can't really say. But that is one of the biggest issues, the catch and release, which is the same thing that the lieutenant was basically saying with our drug dealers. Like not that we're not doing the job, it's simply like and they release because it's just not a huge crime, and then we arrest again the next week and kind of get released a few days later. So, if any questions?
sure. I want to start with, for the sake of the minutes, can you state your name, full name?
Vance Fiscaranda.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, on Fairview Avenue, and my concern is now that I'm working from home more after COVID is the Harwin Hotel, which is the 191st Street 1 train station, because and the tunnel, because I've had to walk. It's the heroin drug use. It's so pervasive and out in the open. You know, when I walk by and I see, you know, some families with their young children, kind of hesitant to walk through the tunnel. I'll walk with them because there's 2 or 3 individuals, and I have some photos I can take. I've been taking some videos. I can go up to them if you like and just I can handle myself. I'm not concerned, but I see the other people in the community. It's just so open, and I even know where to hide their needles. If you go on the train station, on the 1 train, on either end of the platform, they tuck the needles above. So when they're there, they usually go to the end of the platforms to use in front of everyone. I'm talking also like during rush hour in the morning. Yeah, and you know, later on, but I see the most when I'm on my way to work. The days that I do go in, but just the train station on St. Nicholas, there's so much, whether it's heroin use out in the open, drug sales out in the open, illegal vendors out in the open, or just homeless out in the open. It's just, the amount of different quality of life and crime is just plentiful. On Broadway, it's not that much of an issue. But when you go to the tunnel in St. Nicholas Avenue, then that's a whole different ballgame. That's because you're kind of tucked away on St. Nick instead of being on Broadway when the 3-4 is right there.
Mhm.
But it's just a disregard for young people. And everybody's desensitized now too. Now it's nothing. I grew up in the area. They've been selling drugs at 91st. I remember when I used to name Five, used to put a beach chair out and hang out. And we all knew he was selling weed. We all knew that. But this is a little different. 191st Street is unique because where the elevators are on either side now, the doors open. In that little nook is where they hang out. Or in the tunnel. And they even have luggage. I don't know what's in that luggage. I'm afraid to know what's in that luggage. Right? But someday they'll leave stuff out there that is a little concerning. But my thing is, you know, the needles all over the place over there. And it's just, you know, also on Fairview, the other night, some man dedicating in between two cars. It's just, and that was at night though. That was between 9 and 10 p.m. actually. I was on my way to the Locksmith restaurant, just right there. And also you have to remember, right next to the tunnel, they had a failed construction. Right, something like I guess I don't even know what they were doing. Rural housing.
Right.
That fell through. So now it's boarded up, and there's people now climbing in there. I don't know if they have shelter there, but there's a hookah bar on the corner, and I was walking, you know, to take the bus, and just a few people just going into that wooded area right next to that physical structure.
That's the reason.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so it's getting a little.
It should be a chicken restaurant. I used to go to all the time.
Yeah, so it's getting a little dicey.
Mhm.
Lately, it's been dicey, yes, after COVID, but I've seen an uptick in the last 6 months. You know, these people just, and then I asked the transit authority worker, you know, about if he can just make a phone call just to tell these guys not to just do it right in front of these kids. But she goes to me, "Are you kidding me? You know, it's all over the place. What can we do?" So I want to know if there's anything I can do to help. Maybe take pictures or video of these individuals. I can get close. I don't care. Right? I can get pictures and maybe they've committed other crimes. Who knows? But whatever I can do, just anything that citizens can do to help assist the community, just let me know, or who can I send these photographs and video to? Someone that can make a difference because the station manager. I reached out, never heard back. Thanks.
I'll,
I think the concern about the Washington one in St. Nick is that you have George Washington High School there. So it's constantly being used by students as well.
Yeah. One of our board members, the chair of the Youth and Education Committee, was actually hurt in the tunnel.
Yeah, it's the tunnel can get dicey.
I know the tunnel.
I
I know
grew
the
up,
tunnel.
again, I grew up there,
I know the
but
tunnel.
it's a different feeling. These people are not trying to take your Jordans. You know what I mean? They have a different look on their face when they're doing it. I don't know what they're seeing, but it's scary.
Tavares, what are you guys staff wise? Because that's important. Because I remember when maybe 20 years ago when you guys were like full staff. I don't think you were even born there. It was about 250 officers then. Now the last head count when the last meeting we had was like, what is it, 110? Is that what you are?
Yeah. No, 20 years ago I was alive, just not working. Yeah, our staff is pretty low. I will say that I do have, I guess, good news. We just got 35 new officers 2 weeks ago, so that's a help. The only issue is that the city puts them through a program where it's like basically what we call foot posts, where we put them on corners on foot. That helps, certain areas, but it doesn't help the the 911 calls where you call 911 and we now show up in our vehicles to your job to your phone call, to your 911 call. To basically to jump on to what you were saying about the train stations. We have quality of life teams that we've been dealing with, that we just basically implemented. And what can be done is we can, if you pass by here all the time or often, you can take pictures, put it up on 311, even call 911, because some certain things are a quality issue, certain things are a crime. I personally, it doesn't matter, how tough you are, how, what the incident is. I don't recommend purposely going up to people to just go take pictures, and I don't think it's safe. I wouldn't want to put anybody. I have to get into that situation, so that's why I would do it. But I wouldn't want anybody else to go ahead and jump into that, put themselves into that position. But if you're passing by and you notice it, person is using drugs, and you can take a picture or two, or just asleep, homeless, that kind of stuff, you let us know. What I also can do is I speak to On Point. They come to our community council meetings. They actually call me a lot about issues that they have, and I let them know about issues that we have. I can reach out to On Point tomorrow, let them know about this particular issue where they do go and remove individuals, and they also go and remove needles and syringes is what the word is. So they do go ahead and do that kind of work where they'll remove the syringes from the train stations and remove the individuals if they're still there, or if they've trying to use drugs there, they'll remove them and take them to their facilities to go ahead and I that's not my job, so I don't know how they handle it, but I do know that they do remove people, and when they're not able to do it themselves, they also call 911 so we can do it together, basically. So
What's the station called again?
On point.
Point.
Located at 178 and 41.
No,
Well,
180th and after. Yeah.
Mm.
So I think the end, we understand the issues with the catch and release, but I think that prevention always is important. Like if you guys can at least come back to have foot patrol and people can see you and show more presence, because not too long ago, maybe a year or two, when it first all the graffiti was removed. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
The graffiti was removed, and then a local painter came in and he got all beautified or whatever the case may be. There was some police presence there, and there were just like 168th Street and the hospital has the privilege of having police present all the time.
Mm.
Maybe we get lucky enough and have you guys at least just be there. Sort of prevent or have the families feel safer, like the gentleman here was saying.
No, absolutely. And you're talking about at the train station?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I can mention it where we can be at the entrance.
Right.
The issue would be now in the train itself and in the platform that becomes transit, which we don't cover. So like that'll be where I can reach out to their precinct and their facility there and let them know. But that I don't think that's difficult, especially like it was mentioned before about the school. That is a big concern for us, where drug use and drug activity or illegal activity, and then kids coming in and around that area also.
No, I do. So, catch and release. I just want to say that as somebody that fought for cashless bail, people need to remember people like Kalief Browder and understand that a lot of people go to jail without being convicted and end up on Rikers Island for a long time. That is not okay. So that's where cashless bail came from, because we have a lot of community members that get locked up for like what Kalief Browder got locked up for, stealing a backpack. And the people who accused him moved back to Mexico or whatever. And he stayed in Rikers Island for 3 years, and he was so traumatized by his experience, he came home and killed himself. So this doesn't happen in a vacuum. So I would really appreciate if everybody does their research. When we're talking about drug users and we're talking about homeless people, we also have to talk about the resources that we don't have in our community. We don't have the resources to support people that are addicted to drugs. We don't have the resources to give people high quality homes that are homeless. I sit in these meetings all the time and I see people coming to us to ask us to open up another shelter in our community instead of providing housing for some of these people that you are seeing in the train station. So my thing is, instead of trying to criminalize these people that obviously need help, we should be advocating for more resources, because police come after something happens. They rarely stop crime from happening. And, you know, putting police officers, my daughter lives on 191st, right there, with my 3 grandchildren and her husband. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But we have to come up with ways as a community to put something in place that's going to help these people and support these people rather than criminalize them, because that doesn't work either. You can't criminalize someone for having a drug habit. Why aren't we looking at the people who bring the heroin here? Because definitely it's not the drug dealers who are selling it. These are the things that we need to talk about and make it a bigger conversation, just involving the police. The police cannot be in charge of dealing with every problem in our community. That doesn't work, obviously. So, you know, while we are asking the precinct these questions, we should also be doing our research on, like, On Point or whatever you said, on community-based organizations that go out of their way to help these people. Let's connect to a community-based organization and ask them to come to you know, to 191st and offer services, you know, to these people. So that's what I want
They
to
only
say.
collect needles. They don't offer service.
I know people that do
Do they have
offer
social work
services,
there?
They- but
Sonia.
they're-
No, I'm talking about On Point.
Yeah.
They have social
Well,
workers
I
there?
think
I
in
said
a, yeah,
like
no,
On Point.
no.
I
I
didn't say
think
just on.
in a nutshell, and I agree wholeheartedly. However, I think any society, for that matter, whose scale tips over more rights than obligations, you're gonna have those kind of problems. You have to have certain accountability and rights at the same scale, because what's gonna happen is it's gonna create these issues and it's gonna collapse. Yes, there are issues that are created. Like, I've been extremely vocal, and I will continue to be, as to how it is that a lot of these community services, like On Point, are mostly located in the east of Broadway. I have a problem with that. I have a problem that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different type of, you know, shelters and so forth between Amsterdam and Broadway, and there's none on the other side. I have a problem with that. No one says anything about that, so it's a micro issue. Okay, so, and then the police, you know, helps them usually have to deal with a lot of the issues that are created
Right.
from other sources, from different issues. Like, we have to take another look at how it is that the kind of impact that a lot of the things that sometimes we fight for, how they end up happening, who's affected ultimately. We have to take a look at that at some point.
Tanisha, I agree with you. The conversation has to be bigger and it has to be more in depth, and it has to be outcome based. You know, we can't sit around here and talk about the same issues year after year after year and see things get worse. You know, I was born and raised here as well. And I walk my dog at 6 a.m. and I see the homeless, firstly, 2 at a bench on Laurel Hill. And there's like, what, 7 benches? So there's like 14 of them sleeping on a bench. And then on top of that, they defecate. They do.
Yeah,
You know, it's inhumane to see them by a tree doing this.
With all the shelters in our
It is
community.
inhumane. So the conversation has to be outcome based, and it has to be deeper than just mentioning it. Is is what I'm saying, because it's getting worse. It's not getting any better.
And the conversation begins with the people that create the laws. That's where it begins.
So what can
They-
Community Board 12 do to
Oh,
the people who create?
We passed 120,000 resolutions a year, and they,
120,000.
that was the name that I just made up. And who end up in people's desk, and we're not demanding a call to action in a lot of these real things.
But who do we rent to? Who do I send these photographs? Because it's not
Well,
okay,
you-
even though you're homeless, you have a tough life. It's not okay.
You have
They
four,
affect the quality of life.
you have 4 elected officials at 4 different levels.
Is it a
State-
someone? Who do I send stuff?
You have 4: council, state, assembly, and what's the other one?
Congress.
And Congress. You have 4.
It'll be helpful for.
I'm
post it
also,
somewhere, or just to give me information where
it
I can
could
get
be,
on, I can get signatures. I mean, I'm not the only one that sees it. People in my building see, people in my community see it. And we just want to help. You know, I don't want to send anybody to jail unnecessarily, right? But, you know, it's not all of these people are sympathetic figures. They're not. Some people are just bad. And I think we have to understand that.
Can I just
I
ask
just care about bad people. The ones that need help, let them get the help.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you ever seen anyone attacked by one of these homeless people or one of these?
I
people
haven't,
on
I
drugs?
haven't been attacked. by one of them. Actually, one of them attacked my niece and my sister. On the same year.
That's
Okay, they
different.
snatched my sister's chain in the train station. She was coming home from work. And
I'm
my
talking about
niece-
194.
Yeah, yeah. And as far as my niece, she was on her way up. This was downtown near Midtown, she was in Midtown, where someone in the train station. He was going around trying to high five people or whatever. And my niece didn't want to do that, so he hit her on the head. You see, this is, you know, he might have been, I don't know if
Sounds
he's a
like
drug
he
user,
is.
I can't attest to that. But what I'm saying is that not all of these people, you know, I just wish they would want to do drugs, do it in the privacy of your own home, I don't care. You know, but if you're defecating in the street, if you're using needles in front of people from George Washington High School, some of them don't even look anymore. They used to be like, what's going on? Now I look at them, just walk right by. And it's nothing now. And who
Mental
knows?
health illness is the issue too, and there is
Yeah.
also 988. It's called Be Heard, and it's instead of calling 911, when you see something like that, or you see something like a mentally ill person, you're supposed to call 988. Now here's the kicker, 988. Now here's the kicker. There's not enough of them in our community. I have done it myself. I have been with someone having a mental breakdown and call 988. And you know who comes? 10 cops. So that's another thing that we have to talk about, because I'm going to testify at a committee hearing on Be Heard later on this month. This is stuff that we have always talked about, and this is stuff that we would hope that y'all as a community would advocate with us, because this 988 came about because of these type of issues. But we still don't have the funding that it needs, and we still don't have the staff that it needs. So we need to be advocating, Chair, for there to be more staff in the Be Heard, the 988, where these calls don't have to go to the precinct. They can go to 988, and they can send people who are professionally trained to deal with these type of situations. The problem I have with our government and the laws is that we put policies into place without the infrastructure to really do them. Because this Be Heard thing has been something for like 2-3 years. We've been fighting for it. Like I literally sit on the
what's the
board.
cannabis police?
Huh?
What's the
This is-
cannabis enforcement?
this is what I'm saying. So
Enforcement.
we need people that you know, a lot of these people are lived experience people that used to use drugs, that don't use drugs no more. It's way better when you have someone who have went through the situation and we call them to help people going through the situation than people that are just trained to, you know, lock them up. Because just like they're doing drugs out here, when they go inside, they're doing them same drugs, right? So if we can't stop them drugs from getting into our jails, you know, we have to look outside the box. So I would say, join me to advocate for there to be more 988 officers and more 988 supports in social workers, mental health, advocates and people who are trained to deal with these situations. Because a lot of time when we see homeless people and they are violent, they are not mentally violent. So all of these things don't happen in the back. Like no one chooses to be homeless. Believe that. And being homeless will have you with some mental issues. And you know, and then you're lashing out at people and you're doing all these things that are not right. But is it a crime or is it someone who has been neglected, who has a story that we don't know and just needs some help? So 988 is something that I truly advocate for, and I truly advocate for it to be fully funded. So like, you know, someone who's running for office would say, we got to stop taking these quality of life issues and putting them into the hands of the police when there's so mistrust with the community and the police.
I trust the police,
But-
but those CRTs, I wish they would come to my neighborhood. Because, I mean,
Sort of like put this productive discussion in summary. I agree with you with the 988. I would also advocate for having a real substance abuse program from that beautiful hospital that is right across from us.
Yeah.
You guys
have
be
the
more
money.
than happy to take a look at it, because we have none. We have zero. That and we need to take a second look at our existing laws as to, and I want to be really careful how I say it, as to how it really well-intentioned, I could really boomerang back to you and cause a secondary effect that could even hurt you even more than the real intentions. So
Is it possible to take this to the general board?
of course.
Yeah.
And this is a reoccurring issue because a couple of years ago, On Point was coming to our meetings. They came a couple of times, but there kept being some sort of time conflict, and them being understaffed really affect the resources that they have available to them. I know they had a partnership with Carmen De La Rosa where they would do the needle cleaning up, you know, in different locations, like the tunnel near the church on 179th and for Washington, that area. They have consistent resources, but they are limited, and they had specific grants, but you know, those all come to an end. We also had the parents come from, I believe it was like a parent committee from the school on 182nd and Amsterdam, ICE 143. I know it has multiple names and like wheels and stuff like that. Those parents came to our board, to our committee too, expressing concerns with On Point as a location as a whole, and also drug consumption across the neighborhood and our schools. Drugs are being consumed very close to our schools. So is majority of the schools in our area and District 6 education, because this is also an educational matter, are being, you know, exposed to this. Our youth are now being normalized to seeing this on a regular. So this is a very recurring issue. This is very prevalent. And I guess we have to come to something.
Yeah, I think, you know, when they first came on and made their presentation, even before they didn't even have a place to offer their services from. Anyone who's been around here in this community for over 25, 30 years knows that 181st Street in Audubon has been what it has been for 120 years. I think that is the first ever what it is ever, since I remember.
181st
In Audubon,
Which
corner.
side?
Pick a side. Pick a side. I can tell on the next to the bakery is in 181st Street. Is that the same sidewalk, but in 181st Street?
180th Street.
180th.
180.
I'm sorry, 180th.
Yeah.
I agree.
180, that corner. We all know.
181st.
Okay, so then when one of the things that we said when they were trying to get a place to open up the service is don't do it then. It's like having the cows watching over me. and they don't have enough resources. I volunteer with On Point. I helped them clean Quisqueya Park across the street because they were migrating over there to, whatever. Yeah. But the way I see it, drugs is to be free. It's not a crime. How I see it. But there has to be ways in which we all, like Tanisha said, pitch in and help out. The police cannot do it all. And the elected officials have to also play their role, whatever that role is.
I would volunteer to have, one of the organizations that are working on this Be Heard thing come here and do a presentation as well. That
We'd love
That'd be great.
I'm good for that.
Love to. Have any of you have like consistent contact with On Point? Do you still talk to them?
I don't, but I believe I still have their contacts.
Jay is the number.
I'm not remember. I'm not sure.
I thank them for picking up the needles.
And they really do try.
They
They
do,
do.
and they're very appreciative that you
They
acknowledge
don't have to.
That's the thing. No
Like
one
they
is
clean it up at one, let's say a random time slot, they clean it up by 1 and then by 4 the needles are back. And it's not even their fault. Like
Yeah, we should.
6 in the morning.
Yeah, they're really good.
that's tough.
I have a question. I think it's a big picture and smaller as well. What happens if we have big picture questions that need to be, and issues that need to be addressed? What happens if we just don't get the funding to address those issues? How do we deal short term with some of the issues that we have? Considering that we don't want to take, or I'm going to assume that we don't want to take a more like brutish approach. What options do we have if long term we just don't get the money to resolve those issues? Which it's a very real possibility.
The money for what?
For long-term funding for, let's say, On Point, let's
Be
say, Be Heard,
For more
and some of the
housing,
more
for
big
more
picture.
mental health support.
Yeah,
for
more
all these-
mental health support.
And
so
who
forth.
do they get funded? Who do they get funded?
I'm not sure who they get funding.
Well, there's
Okay.
And who's-
the city discretionary funds, the state has some money, the Congress has some money.
Well, my question is not where the money's coming from and who can we address it to. My question is, let's say in the hypothetical scenario that we don't get it.
Yeah.
Right, because we should also try to like set up scenarios and say, okay, if we don't get the money, this is what we do get the money, this is what we will get partial funding, this is what we'll do. What happens if we don't? How do we
There's a
push
short
it?
term and a long term.
Yeah.
right? So
So-
short term, these are systemic problems. It takes.
Did
time to
we,
solve
the
them.
question is,
Keyword.
did we have as many syringes and those kind of quality of life issues before we had those services for the general public? Did those services become an attraction to bring more people from outside, and then it became a bigger problem?
That was definitely the discussion we had before. Like, okay, now people are coming from New Jersey,
They are.
different states, Connecticut, traveling to safely consume at On Point. That was like a
I'm
thing.
not that old, but I also grew up in this neighborhood and people have been coming from Jersey forever to buy
Yeah.
guns. It used to be crack at one point when I was
Yeah.
very young, maybe like 9, 10 years old.
It's cheaper here.
Then,
To buy.
I'm not sure about why, I'm just stating an
I'm
observation.
telling you.
My
It's
observation,
changed my
yeah,
life.
yeah, no, my observation is
Right.
that this is a place where
cheaper
that, so the Jersey thing and this has been, for whatever reason, a place of high drug consumption, but more so high drug. So how do you?
But listen,
back to my
I
original
visit, and you do too. There's a center in 123rd in Lex. There's
That's
just-
tough. That place is tough. around
So the city decides to use the highest concentration of
Yeah,
drug
that's
usage.
It's where the poor
as-
people at,
as a center.
basically.
I don't.
In simple
I want to be
terms.
careful.
Okay, again, I'm not,
Mhm.
I'm not looking.
What is it? It's
so-
expensive.
Don't print it.
Yeah, it's like.
Methadone. In that, we call it the Walking Dead. It's there and, in the Bronx, 140, 140,
Zombie land.
but for 149.
And
Same.
yeah.
They put these
Third
methadone
Avenue?
clinics
Mm-hmm.
in places, and that attracts people who need the methadone But what happens is it also becomes like a place where they all hang out and then get out.
Right, but let's say they put it somewhere else, that's just gonna become the place where they hang out and do it. Right, regardless of where you put it, like, it is a valid question as to how to decide where they put it. That's a very valid
Why
question.
wouldn't they just
But regardless of where they put it, those people are gonna hang out.
Well, when they were offered, because I was part of the discussion, but they
Yeah,
all
target
was
audience.
offered, do it right next to the
Right,
hospital.
That's why I said it's a valid question. Why did they put it here as opposed to?
They were offered to put it in the hospital because you have emergency service right there. You have a hospital. Right?
You can address the issue.
No, they say no.
What's the problem?
I don't know.
Yeah, and when we try to put things, near things that will make it better for people, they tell us no, because it's the eyesore or whatever, and they don't want to see people out there. Like, they can't have that at Columbia.
Realist.
It's like a specific target audience, you know, and like more relatable like terms, like target audience, like fitting a certain standard. And Washington Heights and what applies to what they feel,
Charlie.
and Harlem, you know, these low income communities with vulnerable people, you know, that's where they would be placed, because put it somewhere west of Broadway.
Let's
Like,
leave mine as a thinking exercise, maybe for the next meeting, but it probably is part of a longer.
My brain hurts.
Just like a thinking, just think of hypothetical solutions for the
Yeah,
different
yeah.
questions.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of pose that to the officer and lieutenant. What is your game plan in terms of, you know, knowing this is a short-term solution? Who's going out to kind of see what's happening in these hotspots and try to get people to the right services that they need? Like, what is the protocol of how that works today?
Good question.
And
Donna.
how is that working?
I don't know if they see that.
There it is there.
Yeah, we lost them.
Probably lost them. No.
There's somebody.
33rd is still here.
They get picked up, I don't know if it's by a social worker, they go to the Syria. Can't hold someone against the will.
Correct.
Against the law. So. They go to a goodie bag, right back on the 68th Street train station, in the air. I see them. You know, I know they just came. They have the tag on, they have a bag, you know, so it's, can't just say, let's throw, someone to talk to them, because even if they agree to go, they'll go, and then like, kind of go, now, sure, okay, and then they're right back at it. So that has to be, I don't know, something else, you know.
There's a difference between taking someone to a hospital and giving them continuous support. You know,
Correct,
the
yeah.
hospital is where, you know, if the police pick them up and they determine that they have mental health issues, that's what they're told to do, to take them to the hospital.
Right.
So it just becomes a revolving door, right? Where it's not really support, you know?
Yep.
So, you know, when people know that you don't care about them, they tend not to care about themselves. You know, that's what I'm saying. You know, like when we're walking past, you know, because we've all been desensitized.
Yeah.
Where it's easy for us to walk past people sleeping in the bus station, in the train station, sleeping on the ground and stuff like that, because we all grew up here, right? But I think it's getting even worse after COVID.
Big time.
And I just want to say that our state budget for fiscal year 2025 is $254 billion. That's the state budget, $254 billion. Our city budget is $119 billion, right? Do you know how many countries run on way less and have free healthcare and housing? So we are making a choice. We have 130 billionaires that call New York State home. We are making a choice to not put the money into our neighborhoods in Washington Heights, in Harlem, and Inwood, where we know that this problem is reoccurring, right? Our elected officials, which is why I'm one of their most loved and most hated, it is our job to hold them accountable and say, why aren't we putting the resources that we need into these programs? Because we got it. New York State has it. They make a conscious choice of who they want to fund and who they don't want to fund.
I'm gonna cut you short and say this. Small businesses are forced to post a menu with the prices they're charging for whatever, right? But hospitals don't. It's a blank check. Well, how much you pay for an ambulance, how much you pay for the range, how much you pay for medications, it's a blank check. And that's what the money is.
You don't hear that, right? Does Board ever had a grant writer?
No, we don't, because we're not allowed, because we are under marketing. MBPL. Oh, you Marielle today? Under the Manhattan Borough Presidency. We're called, under the city charter, we're called a semi-autonomous entity. Semi. But that's the word. That's the word. Yeah, that's the word. That's the word.
So, it's a city charter thing, so it's not a borough president.
No, that's what I
It's not
said.
like, no, I know, I understand. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, I'm totally agreeing.
Yeah.
So it's more of a, we should probably ask to revise it as a board, or speak to all the boards and all the boards come forward. That still
Every
doesn't
community
guarantee
has its
anything.
own, issues
Yeah.
to deal with. Henceforth, it's not a blanket, one size fits all kind of approach. That's not gonna work.
Yeah, I've been in community boards the last one I went to was Brooklyn, community board 15 or 4. I think it was 15, right? And their, no, 19. And their issue was mopeds. Because they're a bunch of property owners, their houses mostly. And then Vemo, that EV service machine, service company, was the way that they used to have is that if you rent a Vemo, one of those EV things, mopeds, people will just drop them in these people's the driveways. And I got them so upset. And they called there was almost a riot in that meeting. Of course, yeah, the company moved. Call to action. They all got united and then moved on. So it's 9, what is it? 7:45 unless.
I
there's
do
any
wanna-
important what you want.
Although the 34th precinct, I guess they stepped away for when we got into the discussion. A public member, someone from the public, Ms. Connie Vasquez, dropped a concern that was for the 34th precinct, but
She left? The veteran left?
yeah, 34th precinct is no longer here, but I'm still going to read her concern. So we could have it on the record and possibly get it addressed when we reconnect for October session. So again, first Wednesday of the month. Okay. So Ms. Connie says, how do we get anyone to pay attention to the dangerous traffic conditions created by Amber Charter School on West 215th Street in Inwood? We've asked for a meeting with Carmen De La Rosa for almost a year. She met with the school, but not us. We're told there's some sort of plan on foot, but how can a plan be made for or about us without us? Not considering the surrounding community before the school opened without a traffic plan, without crossing guards, with double parking on narrow one-way streets is precisely how do we get in this mess. That's pretty much what she shared.
Tell her.
She said,
and
one of the other things she asked when she shared it again was, can we get at the very least crossing guards or NYPD to ticket drivers blowing off stop signs? I would also raise this with the traffic committee.
if they can send a letter to the office and then the office will send it directly to.
Go ahead, Connie.
Oh, thank you so much. I wanted to let you know, yes, I am here. So thank you. And actually, it's been fascinating to see how hard you're working on the other problems of the community. So thank you so much. And if you just tell me, there's been a bunch of us in the community who've been on this, no kidding, for a year. It's coming up on a year. And school just reopened. And they're blowing off stops. It's scary. And I know the 34th has lots of other things to do. But to whom should, like, if council member De La Rosa is meeting with the school and not with us, and we just want to know, like, what the plan is. If there's a plan, awesome, right? Like, that's amazing.
Connie,
But,
do
like,
you mean,
what is it?
do you mean us being community members or us like parents association? Who exactly would be us?
It's community members. It's like from the surrounding community. Yeah, because like we're terrified that either someone's going to get hit. Actually, a neighbor of mine did get hit, and I told Carmen De La Rosa, so that's documented. But we're afraid someone's going to get hit. There's a new preschool on the corner with little tinies, right? It's scary. There's elderly, and mostly we're really scared about emergency vehicles not being able to get through, including, God forbid, if something happens at Amber.
Hi, I was just, hi, Connie, how are you?
Hi, thank you.
Good. I was just telling Jameer and I that if you can kindly send a letter with all of the stuff that he just listed to the office, to the district manager's office. And then
Which district manager? I'm sorry.
send it to Community Board 12 district manager's office.
Oh, great. Okay.
An email of that sort. Because two things may happen. One, the Department of Transportation can conduct a traffic study and see if there's anything that they can do on their end to change traffic patterns and make sure that there's some traffic mitigation issues that can be implemented. One. And number two, then the department, NYPD, traffic enforcement can send a unit just to come out. And they don't want a short-term solution. You want a long-term solution.
Yeah.
So you just want them to come out and look at it and do a full-blown study so that because the school's going to be there forever, from what I know.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that is we don't put a band-aid into this problem.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And we want to all live together well.
That really was one of the things that people opposed. Yeah, the traffic issue. We're a big thing. Yeah.
And we want to live together well, right? Like, God forbid something happens to one of the kids or some of the teachers. It's, it's not just the people who live in the apartments and stuff around it. It's the school too, and it's the littles. So yeah, a long-term solution would be wonderful.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys so very much. Thank you for all your hard work.
I put the emails in the chat for you, so feel free to copy and paste that.
Thank you.
The first one is right here, our office, and then our district officer's email as well.
You know what? I'm just seeing chat disabled, so I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry.
I'll send it directly to you, okay?
Oh, thank you.
All right.
All right, Pam, Sally.
Maybe one last thought, if I may.
Take that.
But we've been here with everyone in the discussion about very real issues that are tricky to solve. Like, I wish we could sit down and come up with a solution right now, and that's probably just not going to happen. But one of the things that I think is in our immediate power, it doesn't really address your point about, like, what if we don't get funding for things? We need more community-based organizations, that people who are willing to step up and do all that hard work. But the things that are in our power right now as a community board are what funding we ask for. And one of the things that we'll be doing in October or November as a community board is we'll be ranking our budget priorities for the year. So in preparation for today, and tomorrow's I'm on the Health and Environment Committee as well. I was reviewing our community needs statements that talk about the issues that are important to our community. This sort of like funding to address with mental health issues, with drug and substance abuse issues, it's something that we have asked for routinely. Every year we've asked for something to be done about this. And I was looking at community district 12, this district, as well as 9 and 10. All three of those community districts asked for funding for training programs for NYPD, specifically asked NYPD for substance use training programs in multi-agency response. And the response to all three districts was that the agency does not support and cannot accommodate that request. So what I'm saying here and what I'm getting at is we've asked that, we've gone that route. Personally, what I would like to do is in the public health, in the health and environment committee, when we talk about the things that we want to rank and address, is how can we address this through the Department of Health? If the NYPD is not the right avenue to go through, then that is the other avenue that we have. And I don't know necessarily that the NYPD is the right avenue to go through anyway, because I don't think that we should be, policing our way out of problems. But something has to be done on the other end for the people who need those resources. So when we begin to go through that exercise of ranking those budget priorities, which we'll do, I just really hope we keep that in mind. I really appreciate what you said about like 988 and getting them the resources. That feels like a very specific thing that this committee can, well, not this committee, the board, and probably health and environment can ask for. But I'm going to be keeping that in mind tomorrow. I'm going to look at that. So
the response that you read, is that the response that came out of the Borough President's office?
it is the response that comes from the Department of Budget, I believe. Somebody correct me if I'm speaking out of turn, but I think it's basically we compile all these things, we send it to the Department of Planning and Budget, and then they coordinate with all of the city agencies to say whether or not something is in or out of scope for what they can accommodate. So the agency response is the Department of Planning telling us what NYPD is saying.
Well, I will try to get, CCIT here for our next meeting.
And if we have contacts at On Point, let's get a conversation going.
Yeah.
'Cause we-
Well, another conversation. So, on that end, and as far as the budget assessment and our voting, I want to think, I want to think different. Like, I really, really believe that one of the members from our councilwoman staff should be present in at least some of these meetings, so that by the time she gets them, she doesn't get just a pile of paper that has no humanity to it. I think they need to come and listen to our ask in person or via Zoom or whatever the case may be. So this year was one of my goals is to have them come out and talk to us and ask us what are some of the things that USCB 12 would like us to include in their budget for next year, instead of just sending it and do the bureaucracy part, because obviously it's not working.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. But I think they should come out here and talk to us and have that interaction with us. And we tell them, yeah, come to the general meeting, to whichever meeting, and just come and talk to us. Because then it's so disappointing to see how hard it is, the time consuming that is. And then all of a sudden, what you thought it was important, because it comes from us, it's organic. It's like ranked number 120 in his or her list. I don't want to single anybody out, but whoever the council person is. That's really gets me. And then having our friends here not even provide the mental services.
I don't even think we're friends at this point.
Or things have gone, because I haven't been to their meeting.
Wait, who?
Hospital.
The hospital, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you want to close people's, if you have literally you have your faculty coming to us telling us don't close it and you still want to close it, I don't think we're friends.
I mean, that's what they got for $100 million.
Exactly, like doesn't make any sense.
What else? Whoever did that? Just one?
And the meeting, 4th of July, and I wanted to address it with the 34th precinct.
Oh, my God.
4th of July was horrendous. I mean, it was to a point that I thought there was gonna be a fire, a major fire in one of these buildings. The kind of fireworks that were being set off, normally it's a pyrotechnician that does it, like the Macy's fireworks.
Yeah.
They were shooting them from the roofs on 181st Street. Yeah. My dad is a 93-year-old veteran with PTSD.
Yeah.
He was a mess.
Mhm.
He was a total mess. And there was not one police officer in the whole 181st Street corridor. So yeah, I want that to be registered in the transcriptions, and for the next meeting, I'd really like to bring that up to the 34th precinct, because there was absolutely no reason not to have police presence out during that evening. We didn't have a major fire by the grace of God.
And it wasn't just July 4th. It was like most of July.
Yeah, but that July 4th on 181st Street was,
Yeah, it wasn't.
I have never seen it.
Like they literally line them up through the whole block and then set them off.
I think it was kind of the opposite for me in my experience. I feel like this 4th of July was a lot like less chaos compared to the one before, but I'm on the 33rd, so I don't know.
Yeah, the third, yeah. You guys are less, you guys are quieter. Much quieter. Well, it has its spots, but
Fireworks.
yes, fine. So, gonna call the meeting for adjournment. Oh, you have. What?
Motion to adjourn.
You silly.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.